Auckland. I have got CLL. I've been living with CLL, diagnosed with CLL since February 2013. Question was, what's it like to live with CLL? Well, initially it was shock. It felt lonely because there was no one else, much as I had sympathy and empathy from the family. I'm the one with the CLL, and it was a while before I could find anyone else who suffered from CLL to talk to that was in my position. So shock, loneliness, stress, because trying to navigate Google and the internet to find accurate information was a nightmare, a minefield out there. So my presumption was I had 10 years to live, and I was being told by the specialist I was likely to have had CLL for 6 years. So I had 4 years left at 56. So immediately I was thinking, how do I tell my family? I need to prepare the will and my financial affairs, etc. And it wasn't until I found charities and reliable sources of information and specialists I could talk to, I realized that the future wasn't as bleak as that. There was light at the end of the tunnel. The pandemic had a tremendous impact on the whole family, but me in particular. It felt like an open prison, albeit quite a nice open prison. I could go in the garden. But for someone, I tend to go for walks, I go out, I go shopping, go to the theatre, cinema, entertainment. That was all taken away from me with no foreseeable end in sight. And in fact, the local council were very good. I registered with them. So we got the Red Cross parcels to start with, and I had medication delivered to me. So it was very supportive. But my third grandchild was born at the height of the pandemic, stage 1 of the pandemic, and I couldn't hold them. I couldn't see them. I sneaked out, they came round, and I looked at the new baby through the window, and it's very stressful. It's very emotional. And people don't understand that you have to doubly protect. So even when the lockdown was lifted for a short while, for people like us, the vulnerable, the immunocompromised, it made no difference. In fact, it was worse because other people were walking around, other people could go to the restaurant, and here I am still stuck at home being supported by the family to keep safe with no end in sight. A very stressful time. And thank goodness, charity work with CLL and Leukemia Care and IWCLL, it kept me busy rather than just twiddling my thumbs at home. There's only so many walls you can paint in a house. Particular aspects I found hard was I had to have regular checks up at the cancer centre. So we did them early morning. Luckily, it was separate, but I had to stay in the car. They'd phone me on my mobile. I had to wear a mask and clean my hands, etc. at every stage through the cancer centre to be checked in there to go again. And it felt like a pariah, someone unclean. I thought someone was going to give me a bell and shout unclean that I'm a leper. But that was their way of trying to keep me safe. I had to cancel dental appointments, and I had a particular piece of work to do, I needed done. Luckily, it could hold over, so it didn't have to happen. And I could have my medication because the chemotherapy on is tablet form, luckily. So it wasn't suspended. It was, I got it at home. Since the lifting of measures, I think it's become more stressful for myself and the people in my position that I talk to. It's like trying to navigate through a minefield without a map of the minefield. So, for example, I try to go shopping. We go early morning. Being retired, I have a bit more flexibility. But I can see people staring at me saying, well, why are you still wearing a mask? Are you a hypochondriac or something? And I've been stopped a couple of times saying, are you okay? And in fact, in the end, I've paid for a couple of masks that have CLL compromised on it. So at least they get an indicator, even if they don't understand what it is. But I still find people coming close to me over my shoulder. If you're shopping and getting apples, people will lean right in and not give you the space. So we have to plan our life very carefully. So the lifting of all the restrictions has made it worse for us. Until they find a vaccine that truly works for us and gives us protection, I cannot see us being together with the rest and being able to navigate this wonderful world, go out to parks, go to parties, go to clubs, go to the cinema without having to wear a mask or be mindful of whether it's an enclosed space and fresh air. I'll give you an example. I had one failing, shall we say. I went to a group buffet in the local community. It was in the open air, so I thought I'd take the mask off to have something to eat, and I talked to a couple of people, and within 3 days I came down with COVID. So one lapse with one group of people, and it was still open air in there, but crowded area, my own fault, but we have to be vigilant all the time. Please be mindful, there's 2.5 million in the UK alone, let alone around the world, who are immunocompromised, who are vulnerable. Be aware if you are healthy and you see someone with a mask or gingerly or nervously in the shop there trying to keep their distance, be respectful, be caring. You are lucky that you are healthy and your vaccines work.